Welcome to the Onebar and Lupagus Show, your daily source for everything Minnesota Vikings.
All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus Show. I'm Onebar. Raiders shocking the world, releasing Christian Wilkins, their big boy signing of last year, who we all know the Vikings were hot and heavy on. We all wanted the Vikings to sign Wilkins. It was a huge need. So we're going to talk about the possibility of old 94 down in the corner there still potentially joining the Vikings. Before we do that, hit that sub button. If you're watching and you're not subbed, hit the sub. It's weird, but 50% of our viewers are not subscribed to the show. So do us a favor, hit the sub, comment below on how you're feeling about Christian Wilkins. So Wilkins last year signs that ginormous contract with the Raiders. I got it here. $110 million deal, was the second largest among defensive tackles in NFL history. Guaranteed money and average annual value, only behind Chris Jones. So when he got that contract, it made me feel better because the Raiders, I'd say, maybe overpaid for him a little bit. We all wanted to get him, but when we saw the actual numbers, like, all right, makes sense. We know why he went there. Vikings, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi, they were in the mix to the point where they actually were very confident they were going to land Christian Wilkins. That's how close it was. So the Vikings were in the running, which why it makes sense to all of a sudden, now that he's going to be available, say, you know what, maybe this is actually going to happen potentially. There's a lot of hurdles for this to happen. First off, Raiders, they released him. They voided the remaining $35.2 million of his contract, which he has filed the grievance with the NFL Players Association over that. So there is one hurdle. He's got that going on. The other hurdle is the dude's not healthy. And why he's not healthy is the biggest question mark, and why the Raiders released him. He had that Jones fracture in week 5 of last season. And before that, he was playing pretty good. I think he had 2.5 sacks. He was kind of living up to that contract. But week 5, Jones fracture, the injury required a surgery that knocked him out for the rest of the season. The issue is, come training camp this year, it was still bothering him. I mean, I'm not a doctor. When you look it up as far as recovery time, it shouldn't take that long. And that was the Raiders' issue, to the point where they put him on the PUP. They're questioning his rehab, if he actually was following through with that, which is another, they could get some more money back from him if he wasn't, if they can prove that. But that's a big issue. That's the number one issue, is he's still not healthy. Obviously the Vikings wouldn't sign him right now, but let's put our imaginary ball caps on and go to fantasy world a little bit. Not fantasy world. Let's go to happy world. The Vikings right now, defensive line is pretty set. We know that they put a lot of money into their defensive line with Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, and a 5th-round pick in Dawkins Ingram. On top of that, they do have Jalen Redmond, but Christian Wilkins, I mean, obviously adding him adds a completely different element to this defense, adds an insane amount of depth on a defensive line that has needed a lot of pieces. And we know Brian Flores, the relationship there, Dolphins, Wilkins, he was there. They love each other to the point where he's almost signed. So it makes a ton of sense, but it just doesn't make sense right now. Like, this guy's got to get healthy. And the good part is a team going to want to throw out a bunch of money to him after all this goes down? I highly doubt it. Wilkins gets healthy. I mean, season starts, and let's say the Vikings just kind of kick the tires a little bit and see how he's doing. If he's healthy, he could be a guy that is very, very motivated to come in on a contract that isn't overly crazy. The Vikings have, 25 million right now in cap space. There is money there to bring him in. It's just the timing. The timing has to be right, and of course, he has to be healthy. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Wilkins is going to be a little bit pissed off about this whole situation. He's losing a ton of money, still only 29 years old, and could come into a defense coordinator that he's very familiar with, a defense that is fairly stacked, and knows that he can come in and make some noise and then still go out and get a big boy contract next year. So I think it's absolutely possible. I just think it comes in once the season actually gets going, because when you look at it, the amount of teams that would want to sign him are probably going to be very, very slim after what's going through. Flores, Vikings were already all in on this guy. So if the price is right, absolutely make it happen just at the right time. Let me know how you're feeling. Christian Wilkins, do you want him to come in purple? Do you think he'll come in purple? We will see. This will be a fun one to watch.